Welcome back to That Type of Talk. And today we have a special guest who's a true innovator in the tech and entertainment industries. Kevin Winston is the founder of Digital LA, the largest digital entertainment networking group based in Los Angeles with a passion for connecting creatives. Kevin has built a thriving community that brings together professionals from all corners of digital media, technology, and entertainment. His insights and experience are invaluable, and we are thrilled to dive into a conversation about the intersection of tech, entertainment, and pop culture. Let's give a warm welcome to Kevin Winston.
Hey, all. Thanks so much for having me.
Hey. How's it going today?
It's going great. How are you?
You know, it's a wonderful day in California. We are one of the most blessed of people to be able to be in this great weather on a regular basis.
That's correct.
So, can you tell us about the inspiration behind founding Digital LA and how it has evolved over the years?
Yeah, so I founded my company called Digital LA. And like you said, what we do is we organize entertainment tech events to bring the community together, both the Hollywood entertainment community and the tech community, because to me, it's kind of the same thing. And the point is really just to get people to trade ideas, get to know each other, and put together panels where really smart people doing amazing things can share what they're working on with other people and make the entire entertainment tech community just smarter. What I realized when I started Digital LA was there are a lot of people doing amazing things in the entertainment and tech space, whether it's working on an app, working on a web series, doing amazing things in social media. Everyone is so busy in this town in LA and the broader entertainment industry and tech that people never really get a chance to share what they're working on with other people and to meet other people. So I was like, well, I think I'm going to start something called Digital LA. We're going to organize events in person. So we rely on social media to let people know about the events, both before and after. But the point is really to get people to meet in person, to trade ideas, meet each other, have some good vibes. And it's been a lot of fun doing that in the process.
And I'm glad that you are someone that's taking on that challenge, because that's the biggest thing with getting people that have busy lives, busy schedules together in the same place and being able to brainstorm, come up with different projects, talk about the newest things they're working on. And I especially love how you did the X-Men 97 parties, because we were there at Scum and Villainy for the last season finale, which was a great event. Everybody showed up.
Right.
So that was perfect.
Yeah. So that's a really fun example. So the X-Men 97 watch parties have just kind of become a thing. It started like back in February when I was like, it'd be cool if we had some sort of like viewing party in LA to watch the first episode. And if we could get somebody from the cast to come, that would be really cool. Because I'm a huge X-Men fan, and X-Men's, streaming on Disney Plus, which makes it a digital thing. So I was like, I wonder if we could do this. And so I mentioned it to a few friends, my friend Chris, and he was like, I actually know like the voice actress who plays Rogue. And I was like, that's awesome. Lenore Zann is like, very big part of X-Men 97. She was in the original series and currently in the 97 series. So I was like, that would be great. So he asked her and she was down with it. And so then another friend of mine, I called the owner of Scum and Villainy Cantina, where we host the events. I've done Digital LA events at his place before. It's a Star Wars themed bar right on Hollywood Boulevard, which has become a place where the geek nerd community can really convene and have some really awesome, burgers and nachos while they're doing it. And they have themed drinks and themed food. So I had organized some Digital LA events at Scum and Villainy in the past. I organized a Star Wars panel like right before May 4th, talking about Star Wars with people who worked on Star Wars video games and writing and working on Star Wars Galaxy Edge and Disneyland. And that was a fun time. And so I called JC and I was like, hey, do you like X-Men? I would like to do some sort of viewing party there. They have video screens and great food. And he was like, dude, I love X-Men. Let's do it. So basically putting together like the venue and the talent and the idea, we had a viewing party and it was a lot of fun. Lenore Zann showed up and it was great. We had a Q&A beforehand and it was really a fun time. And I was like, well, there's some other cast in LA. Let's keep doing this if we can. And so And so we did. We reached out to more cast, and lo and behold, we organized a series where every week of the X-Men 97 show over 2.5 months, after the show aired, dropped at midnight, the next Wednesday, we had a member of the voice cast talking about their work on the show. And it was a great way just to build community. X-Men fans showed up, a lot of them in costume, more and more over time. And that led to even organizing the finale party with the X-Men cast and crew. We had like several of the cast there. It was a good time. You guys showed up. Yes. We had good drinks, themed drinks, lots of fun. So that's an example of just take an idea and then something you're passionate about, and then doing something with the entertainment and tech community to make something happen. And we even had some members of the cosplayers who've been attending the watch parties join both the WeHo Pride and LA Pride. I had another idea to get an X-Men car in both of the prides, and both prides said yes. So I was driving in the car with talent from the cast in both of the prides last Sunday and just this past Sunday, which was a lot of fun too. So it's been a lot of fun.
It's crazy too, because when we were coming up there, I was looking at Scum and Villainy and I was like, this name sounds familiar. I said, why do I recognize this? Why do I recognize it? I got to the door. I'm like, oh shoot, this is the Star Wars board I've been wanting to go to. I'm like, yes, I get to see the inside of it now. I was so excited.
That's right. Yeah, it's a great place. Check it out.
Definitely.
So what are some of the most exciting trends you're seeing in the digital entertainment and tech industry right now?
Some of the trends are centering on creators. So creators, whether it's filmmakers or TikTok or YouTube or any sort of digital creators are coming up more and more. They're developing large followings. Brands want to partner with them. Hollywood studios want to partner with them to invite them to the premiere to help cover the event. More and more people are realizing that these the digital creators are not a fad. They're definitely part of the entertainment landscape, and you got to reach out to them to really help build your brand or your following or your product or your startup or whatever it is. There's going to be small micro creators, someone with 50 to 100,000 followers across different platforms, or it could be someone medium sized who's worked on some TV shows and has a larger following, or it could be mega influencers, but famous actors or other folks. But no matter who you reach out to, you got to reach out to someone, because if it's just you promoting your project, that's not enough. You got to have a community. Reach out to the community of people who follow you, who like your product, your type of product, and get them to help spread the word too.
Definitely.
For sure. That's definitely something we're learning a lot more of too, because we were speaking with some other directors that we know that do independent projects on Instagram, YouTube, all the different social media platforms. And they just did a collaboration with Sony and Bad Boys 4.
Yeah.
Which before it was unheard of to find somebody that was a small creator be able to get into a space with a company that large and with a project that's that mega.
Right.
It's definitely exciting to see the young guys and the smaller clients building up their repertoire and getting more of those types of projects.
Yeah, that's right. As long as you're a creator with a kind of an authenticity and a personal brand or a passion or interest that someone wants to partner with, that's kind of what you and consistency. So yeah,
definitely. So, what would you say when it comes to strategies have you found most effective in building and maintaining such a large and active community like Digital LA?
Some things that really help are, one, in LA, you have to have interesting topics to talk about. So I put together panels around interesting topics. That could be around AI, personal branding, social media, digital creation tips from experts. You have to have what the content is, because people are thirsty for content, because there's new stuff happening all the time across social media. There's new apps, there's new ways to use apps. I remember when Instagram Reels came out, everyone was like, hello, what's this? And now it's something that people are using all the time, which the algorithm favors. So find out what the interesting topic is that people are talking about, what the new tool or topic is, and then I put together a panel about it. Second is finding experts in the field. So people want to hear from people who are expert, and you can be a very quick expert thanks to digital. Like if something comes out, like a new feature or a new app, you can become an expert on it, in like, a week or a month. But other people are not quite there yet. And so you can become an expert for them. Or you can be an expert in the field for like 5 to 10 years, whether you're an artist or an illustrator or a writer or whatever. So yeah, you have to find an expert. 3, it always helps to find a good venue. Again, all my events are in person. I did go on Zoom during pandemic, of course, because we're going to do in-person events. But once we could do in-person events, my events are really about people connecting in real life and then doing follow-up on social or LinkedIn afterwards or Instagram. So there is like the venue. The venue has to be cool. Like Skill and Villainy is fun. It's a great venue. And then 4 is like generating a sense of community. So I've been to some events where people just kind of show up, but then they just leave afterwards. There's no really community formed. So I always try to make sure I have community by greeting people myself personally, if I can, by having like enough time to hang out, but before and after the event for people to get to know each other, because that helps like build a community. And then 5 is consistency. Sometimes people do one event, but it's like one event and they get tired or they get busy and they can't do another one. But by doing consistent events around LA in different neighborhoods, I've been able to build a community because people know when the next event is. I have some regular events, whether there's something called digital drinks or panels. So yeah, building consistency so people know that it's coming. Just like in digital creation, you have to have consistency too. You can't just like create one video and then wait like 6 months.
Yes.
Same for events in real life, because people often are like, when's the next event? They had a great time at one event. When's the next event? That happened at the first X-Men watch party. They came to the first one with Rogue and they're like, Kevin, when's the next one? And I'm like, oh, I guess we should do a next one. So we did. And then we did like a next, like several. Right. We actually did our 14th one over the weekend, and we're doing our 15th one upcoming this Wednesday with another voice actor from the show. Even though the show, so what happened with the extras, even though the show's over and you guys went to the finale party after the 10 episodes, and we had done 10 of these, like people still, the fans who were coming and the cosplayers were like, well, we still want to do these because we've created this community just by watching the show. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's keep going because I want to keep doing these too. So yeah, we've had voice actors who we haven't featured yet still come out. So yeah, so it's been really fun.
There's still things to talk about with each episode.
Exactly.
I mean, from callbacks, Easter eggs, like there's so much. Like the one thing I love about 97, this is how I feel about a lot of the shows that were what's the word I'm looking for the revival of certain TV shows or continuations, right? I feel like they nailed it on the head because the shows 30 years later, though we were children, we're adults now, and the show basically grew with us to where the content is we can basically understand what the content is about, because all the little nods and the little certain things in the prior X-Men, we weren't sure, but we were like, I'm pretty sure. But then in 97, okay, yeah, we were sure. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even with Power Rangers, once and always, it grew up with us, and it's like, okay, it's not just for the children, it's for the adults that were once children at a time, at a point, and it's making a lot of sense. And I think these things are very important, especially with the era of Fox Kids and even Kids WB and like all the stuff from back in the day. If they're gonna bring these things back, I think they should bring it back at a capacity of maturity, if you would, to where we can digest it and it would make more sense and more people can understand and just give it more love. And I feel like this is great that we're giving these things another life or second go around. And it's great to see it, so.
Yeah, totally true. I mean, X-Men in the comics and in the animated series has always had really deep, themes about acceptance and accepting people who are different, bigotry and things like that. So yeah, it's definitely themes that are like totally relevant today. So it's been amazing what X-Men 97 did with the first 4 episodes were these callbacks, like, oh, let's get our cereal and pajamas and watch this kind of vibe. But then episode 5 hit, and you're like, okay, this is serious. Boom, Genosha, and then from then on, you're like, okay, this is like, these are themes that are very relevant and hitting us with like issues that as adults we're grappling with. So yeah, it's pretty amazing.
To touch on one more thing, what I loved the most was how they allowed Wolverine to Wolverine. Like,
yep,
because before it was campy,
right?
It was safe, but he's in the air. You know what I mean? Like, and it's cool, and to see the fights, and to finally give Cyclops the recognition and the respect that he always deserved.
Right.
A lot of the answered questions and certain things. I think they nailed it. The show, in my opinion, is probably perfect.
Uh-huh.
And it's only perfect to me. It's perfect for a couple of reasons. It's familiar. We know what to expect, but then again, we didn't know what to expect because the way the show kind of turned, and it made you feel like, oh dang, they really did the thing.
Right.
That's what made it, because everyone thinks episode 5 is their favorite episode now, right? But the Nintendo episode, I can resonate with the Nintendo episode only because I knew exactly what they were doing and I understood what they were trying to, like, what they were accomplishing. And the episode when it went to Asteroid, was it Asteroid M?
Uh-huh.
It took me back to remember was it Burger King that had the Pride of the X-Men VHS?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually what we watched yesterday at Scum and Villainy. After the LA Pride Parade, we went to Scum and Villainy and watched the Pride of the X-Men because the word Pride Kitty Pryde is in there. Right. So we have to watch that. And you see Asteroid M, like, I was like, wait, we just saw Asteroid.
We just saw Asteroid M. Yeah. And it's so dope how they sprinkle all these little things. You have to be from whatever generation you're from. You would see, okay, Pride of the X-Men, that episode, that one tape that they sold at Burger King, one episode. But then you had the video games, the Konami games that were very similar to the Simpsons game and the Ninja Turtles game and the Avengers game. I'm like, wait, and then you see the latest episode. I'm like, yo, they did Pride of the X-Men. That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so crazy. Like, bro. Yeah. They really nailed it, man. They really nailed it.
Yeah. And I like what you said about the Nintendo episode 4. A lot of people sleep on that episode, but I love that episode because, one, Jubilee is one of my fan faves. And in that episode, you're like, oh, like nothing happened. If you watch that episode again, she learns how to use her like laser pinwheel discs from her future self of Sissa. And that is how she takes out, spoiler alert, that's how she takes out Bastion at the end. After Cyclops, after Bastion has kicked Nightcrawler, kicked Cyclops to the curb. Like, Jubilee is the one who uses that same pinwheel effect, that pinwheel laser effect, that buzzsaw effect, laser buzzsaw that she saw from her future self in 4. She uses that to clip Bastion's wings that he grew, and then like just M80s him in the face with like a bunch of and she's the only one who does any real damage to him. So yeah, and she learned that from
herself.
So anyway, there's a lot, and then also episode 4 was great, I thought, because it made you like, made a lot of people like, oh, this is a nostalgic video game. I love these video games. It made people very nostalgic and just feel good, and was very lighthearted. She came back from Nintendo World and everything was okay. Like, it just felt very 90s nostalgia, and it made you relax, so that when episode 5 came, you were not expecting that at all. No one was prepared for episode 5.
They set us up.
And it would not have hit as hard if we didn't have like the feel good vibes from episode 4. So it's all part of the story. So just wait till the end. We didn't get the payoff from the episode of 4 until the 10 when Bastion got buzzsawed by Jubilee. So just like, so episode 4 was very much a part of the story.
Very much.
Yeah, and I like how when they were in the bedroom when the Motendo started, and Guy's like sitting there like, oh, this, and this. And then she's like, oh, well, what's this? And then they play the game, and then all of a sudden the Sentinel snatches them through there. And I was like, oh, it's cracking here.
But that was a super dope callback. Dude, okay. That was a super dope callback to the mall. When the Sentinel comes in, snatches her out, even the side scrolling when they were in the game, and the Children of the Atom. Because remember, she was in Marvel's, what is it, Marvel versus Capcom and Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter. Jubilee was always like a backup character. So they did her, she even did the taunt. Like in the game, I'm like, oh, damn. And the character select, when you saw Long Shot, and I'm like, yo, they're doing the thing. And then the Sega Genesis X-Men Apocalypse Part 2, they did the thing. And I'm like, yo, folks wouldn't even understand. Because I'm like, the episode was so... It was a melancholy type of episode, but it wasn't. Because the thing was, you have to pay attention to, they literally, deliberately threw a bunch of callbacks and Easter eggs. And when the original Jubilee came out, I was like, bruh.
That's right. And yeah, it's also cool because in that episode, the theme of that show that Jubilee has to learn is she can't just be like living in her old days. She has to grow up. The theme of the episode, you gotta grow up, and that's actually the setup for the entire rest of the season. Where we're not going to just stay in the nostalgia of the '90s. We're going to grow up with episode 5 and deal with some real issues. So that was another thing that people kind of miss or don't really talk about. But now that the whole show is out, you can see how that really set up the rest of the episode, of the season. So, yeah.
All right. So, could you share some memorable moments of standout events from digital LA that have had a significant impact on the community?
Yeah, sure. So I started Digital LA like more than 10 years ago as like mostly one-off events like panels or mixers, things like 7 to 9 after work. People can like hang out and get to know each other and learn what they're working on. Then several years ago, I started to do these things called Silicon Beach Fest conferences. I was like, I'm getting to know a lot of people and all these different like aspects from content creation to startups to VCs to investors to filmmakers to social media experts and influencers, because they've all been on my panels all along. I was like, I'm going to put them all together and do like, it wasn't out yet, but do basically like an Avengers Endgame of like putting like all these like, people that I've had spoken on various panels together, put them all together in one like big event, call it Silicon Beach Fest, because it's kind of a tech fest, tech entertainment fest. So we talk about new things that are happening with like social media or distribution or technology. And we had it like at a hotel venue. We had like more than 1,000 people showed up. People met each other. It was really cool because at the networking event, and there's also lots of parties. I like to go to parties myself. So I want to make sure after all the panels during the day from like 10 to 6, from like 6 to midnight, there were different parties. There was a cocktail party by the beach. There was like a club party, 8 to 10. Then there's a late night party for after hours people like me who like to keep going. So, so that was fun. So people get to, meet around the content, but then they get to really know each other and connect over the course of the panels, over the course of the parties. Sorry, that tends to happen in Los Angeles. You like meet formally and then, trade business cards, but then you get to know each other really well at the mixers and the panels. So the mixers and the parties. So that actually had a lasting effect because people were like, this is really great, Kevin. I met people on the panels, but then really got to know them at the networking mixers and parties afterwards. Let's do the next one. So I did one the next year. It's become an annual thing, and it's one of the like main conferences now in the LA area that bring together the worlds of both entertainment and tech. So that's been very rewarding and fulfilling. And the next one's coming up in a few months. So that's probably the biggest one, just because of the number of people and because it was able to bring together people from different universes, basically in a very multiverse in-game sort of way. I was able to. Filmmakers don't usually always talk to like the VCs or investors on the tech side. And they don't usually always talk to the social media people. But because everyone was hanging out at the same parties and mixers, everyone got to meet someone from a different field and got to learn from them and partner with them. And people have told me that they've hired people from that event. They've partnered and done collabs with people from that event. So it's been really rewarding just doing something like that to help give back to the community.
Absolutely. Well, we'll definitely have to be at this next one because it sounds like a very interesting event and a lot of fun. And I might be a late night type of guy myself too, so
All right, sounds good.
might have to show up a little bit later and then stay late.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Not really to keep up.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, definitely.
So, how do you see the fusion of technology and entertainment shaping the future of both industries?
Yeah, both of them are influencing and affecting each other. AI is a big topic that we're talking about. Basically, how to use AI. That's been a topic on a lot of panels. Some people in traditional entertainment are scared of it, but people on like the more entertainment tech in my world are excited about it because they're like, okay, here's how we can use it. Here's how we can use it responsibly, so that you don't take someone's work that without giving them credit. There are responsible ways to use AI. A lot of things that people are talking about are that you can use AI basically for brainstorming something, for coming up with concept art for your video game, for your film, for your TV. Just come with some sketch ideas. If you can't sketch, you can like type some stuff in there, and that will help you generate some images that might help you sell a project. You might not have ever been able to pay someone for that because you're not at that phase. It's just you with an idea. But if that gets you to sell a project, then great. Once the project sells, then you have budget to actually pay someone to do the official stuff. But for the concept stuff, you can, some people are using AI and doing a great job with that. AI can also help you like write emails, respond to emails, look through like a bunch of information and come up with key points. If you're busy doing that, if you're not really good at emails, if you're not really good at a pitch deck, AI can help you write a pitch deck because it has a lot of experience based on that. So basically, it's how to use AI responsibly in the creative and tech industry is a key thing. So some people are even using like voice AI to help translate their content into other languages. So let's say that we're creating this particular podcast video. If we wanted to translate this into Spanish or another language, you can use voice AI to do that, which will be trained on our voices and make us sound like we're talking in our voices, our tones, with the same amount of ums and uhs and speech patterns, but translate that into Spanish so that it creates an entire new audience for this video in Spanish or Italian. And all you do is press a button. If you had to do that otherwise, you have to pay a translator or pay some service, and it'd be way more money. Now you can translate something into like 15 different languages using voice AI. Still, a human has to check it to make sure that everything that was said got translated correctly. So it's still a human checker for a lot of AI. But it can help increase like the reach of your message or your content to an international audience. That's another example of how voice AI can be used. So yeah,
very smart. Yeah, no, I'm all about technology. I've been about technology since I was 13. I built computers, things like that. So I'm always excited for the new things, but then I also understand, the artistry side of it. How to been creators, been writers, all these different things, how they can be weary of it as well. Right. Because they're like, okay, wait a minute, this could take my job. This could overcome what I do now. But I feel like there's always going to be an element for a human, even when the AI is fully, built as best as it can be. And it goes keep learning, you're still going to have things that a human's going to do that a artificial robot, software is not going to know how to mimic.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's always good to have a human look at or review the AI content, whether it's an image to make sure your characters don't have like an extra finger, or whether it's text to make sure that stuff is right. AI is not really good at facts. Like never get a fact from AI because they just kind of can make stuff up. So a human has to check the facts. Humans should check to make sure that the AI doesn't go crazy. Bring this full circle. Wait, what's that?
I have a theory on AI. You know how when folks create like those AI images or videos, and there's always like a weird looking figure in the background.
Right.
For some reason, I don't know, but I feel like the AI world is like a parallel dimension to ours. Like seriously, because I was messing around with it the other day. I just put myself in a zombie horde. Like all the zombies look normal, but the humans look crazy. Like I'm like, Yeah, like I was just kind of playing around with it. I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like it's kind of telling us something, man.
That's a fun way of looking at it.
Yeah.
And let's just get access into other worlds that exist out there.
Listen,
We're in the multiverse.
we are in the
the multiverse. Bringing it full circle, it's ironic that in X-Men '97, the main baddie Bastion is basically a robot AI that's fused with the which we're just interested in too. So yeah,
for sure.
So what advice do you have for individuals looking to network, make meaningful connections in the digital entertainment space?
Yeah. So whether you're a digital creator or filmmaker or writer, like it behooves you to meet other people, because with a lot of this content that we create, you can do it by yourself now, like with an idea and a video cam and internet connection. You do it by yourself, but to really like advance and grow, you got to like meet other people. So you got to meet like other creators you can collab with, do a joint video with, meet people that interview. You guys met me at that finale party, and now we're doing this. So
yes.
So yeah, you got to get out there and do a combination of both. In the digital LA world, I've always been a believer you got to network in both online and offline in real life. It's not one or the other. If you're only doing online, that's great to be like, following people on Twitter or reaching out to them on LinkedIn. But do they really know you? Will they really like refer you for a job if they haven't met you? Will they really trust you to work on a project with them? If you haven't at least like said hi to each other, like you can, but if you meet up in person, it really accelerates just like things a lot faster. We're humans, and humans like to network in real life. So my philosophy has always been, and digital philosophy has always been to start with online to find out who you want to like meet, whether it's through LinkedIn, whatever, or Instagram, who you're following, who's doing something interesting. Meet them at a real in-person event so you can actually like develop a rapport, and then follow up afterwards with working together or doing a collab on an Instagram reel together or something. So it's a 3-step process. One is find out who you're interested in like meeting and networking, or what type of events are ones that are right for you. There's a lot of events going on now, but some of them are for developers, some of them are for creators, some of them are for the super hard techies, the programmers, some of them are for the people who draw and paint and AI. But figure out some of them for all of them. Figure out which ones you're interested in, and then 2, go to the events. Be a lot of people are introverts, especially from being online a lot. But just go up to someone and say, "Hey, I like your work. I like what you're working on. I just want to say hi. I like what you're working on. If you have an idea for something, you could partner with them. Maybe pitch them the idea, depending on the vibe of the event. Some people don't want to get hit up too hard at events because they're doing other things. But if the vibe is right, say, "Hey, I'd like to talk to you about working on some other thing together." And then 3, afterwards, don't forget follow up. A lot of people go to the events, but then they forget to follow up, like send thank you notes or an email message or an Instagram DM, say, "Hey, good meeting you at the event. Let's hang out in the future." Sometimes it's just a broad hang out in the future, but if you can make it like a let's have coffee or let's have lunch if you happen to be in the same city to help cement the relationship, that is very helpful too, because then you become more of like their real friend instead of just like someone they met or just someone who they respond to a comment on Instagram. So it's a whole process. And then by doing that, you build up like your core crew of like people who know you, who know your work, and who believe in your stuff, and then support each other's stuff as you go to the other things. Like the other stuff, comment on the stuff, and they'll do the same to you. Attend their premieres, attend their events, watch their live streams. You also have to like give to other people and help out. And then it also helps, I guess, at 5 points. If someone you want to partner with needs help with something, or there's a way that you can help them, offer that. A lot of times in entertainment, people are like, well, "What can you do for me? I want to meet this person. They should read my script. They should put me in their video. They should do this." Stop thinking about what they should do for you, because they don't even know you. They don't know if your stuff is good. Like, they don't know who you are. There's a lot of people are like, you want to partner with them. Like, find out what you can help them out. So if you happen to be able to be really good at social media, you can help them out. It's like I had a panel with some filmmakers, and a lot of people went up afterwards and want to talk to these like traditional filmmakers. But one of my friends was also good at social media and a filmmaker, and she was like, hey, trip to the filmmaker, who was like, hey, I know you're super busy on your film, so if you need help on social media for this part of the film, I can help you out. And the filmmaker was like, oh yeah. And then they started working together. Now she knows him really well, is working on some stuff. So, and that would have happened if she just was like, gimme. If she was like, I can help you, something that I'm good at is social media. You're not good at it. Here's how I can help you. And then that opened the door to relationship. So find out how something that you have, whether it's like editing or social media or doing AI, how you can help other people, and then offer that to them if you think they need it. And if they do, then you have a great start to a relationship.
Look at where we are today. But the thing is, it's all about being able to have some humility and just have a little humbleness about yourself, and to just be a real person. It's not about, hey, I want to be where you're at, or go beyond what you're doing. It's just all about building community. And that's why I think it's a big deal, because I think what you're doing with the parties and all of the events, I think it's a really good world building. It's an exercise. Yeah. And your world is getting big. Like, you don't, like, literally, like, I just watched some of your stuff. You were at the Xbox thing. Dude, you know how long I've been, like, I'm a gamer. Like, I love Xbox. I love Sony. I love all that stuff. But being a part of the things that make you happy and just being in the space is a big deal. And you're driving around at the parades, you're driving the car, you have Guy with you, you have it's cool, like, to see that. And then I saw Guy wearing my shoes. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just great. It's just super awesome to see that. And I think you're doing a good job. And I think you're leading by example. Hence why I reached out to you, because I see you over everything else, and I see what you're doing, and I love what you're doing. And I want to talk to you. So I wanted to make sure that you're able to come talk to us, and everyone can see who you are, and let's expand, you know what I mean? And plant those seeds, man.
That's right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's all, like you said, it's all about building community. Like, we now have an X-Men fan community in LA, thanks to these watch parties. And they came out to help. They dressed up in amazing cosplay to walk with us in both parades over the past 2 weekends. So yeah, and then we want to keep it going. So we're going to keep those watch parties going up through Deadpool and Wolverine, because if y'all are X-Men fans, like, this is somehow, I don't know if this was planned or just happened. This is been like the spring summer of X-Men. After being dormant like a latent mutant gene, it is expressing itself. So with the X-Men 97 coming out in March, and then through May, and then we have the Deadpool and Wolverine movie coming out with final issue back in Wolverine. So yeah. So it's been a super exciting time. So we're gonna keep those watch parties going, because we created a community, and that's gonna keep going. And what's happened is that some of the people who've been attending those are like, well, what's Digital A? Like, I've seen these watch parties. What else do you guys do? So then now they can, like, follow the other things that Digital A does. Digital A, we do movies, we do TV shows, we do music and games, where I bring people, like, from these industries together to talk about what they do. So if you're interested in X-Men 97, but you're also interested in, like, writing or games or film, like, or technology or startups or apps, like, there's other things going on. So it kind of can, like, grow and expand. So, it's been fun. And then we're going to continue that down, actually, in your neck of the woods in San Diego. I've been organizing Digital A parties at Comic-Con for the past 15 years. I've had parties at the top of one of the hotels at a pool, where I bring some cosplayers over and have a party with like Thor and Spider-Man cosplayers. So that's fun. So yeah, we do a Digital A party at San Diego Comic-Con every year. So watch for this next one. And then I also have a panel that I put together called Diversity in Film, TV, Comics, and Games, where I have a bunch of speakers, including Bo DeMaio, the creator of X-Men 97. And this will be his first Comic-Con they've spoken at. So that'll be super exciting. That's going to be Thursday. That's Comic-Con in San Diego. So you got to come out to our Digital A party in San Diego, coming to you.
Well, no, we'll definitely be there, because, we are in San Diego.
Right.
But I've been attending con since 2003, my very first Comic-Con. And I remember when I first went to Comic-Con, my friend took me. He was like, "Oh, you got to come check this out." And I'm like, "What is it?" He goes, "Oh, it's Comic-Con." I'm like, "What's a Comic-Con?" He goes, "It's a comic convention." I'm like, "I don't read comic books really like that anymore." He was like, "Just." So I get in the car, we go, And I'm like, I got to find a way to be a part of this.
Right.
So from 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, I ended up getting on to one of the committee teams. So I was there for so I was there. Last year was my last year on it, unfortunately, because they're leaning toward the apps now versus having the teams. So it's like you have the Comic-Con apps. They don't do the teams. They're shying away from the teams now. But I was able to go and get into like all of them, all the exclusives, like the parties and all that
awesome
stuff. So now this year we're working, trying to get onto some of the events and get into some of the hostings and some of the panels this year. It's a bit harder, but I have to figure out a way, because now that we have the podcast, that's the main focus right now is our podcast, getting into a lot of these events that are coming up at San Diego Comic-Con this year. So
yeah, it's a biggest pop culture event of the year. So, and you guys already happen to be in San Diego, so that's amazing. There'll be a lot of panels and parties and activations. And, a lot of fun.
So are there any innovative projects or collaborations you were involved with recently that you're particularly excited about?
Well, it's been fun doing this collab on the X-Men watch parties with the Uncanny Experience. My friend Chris runs the Uncanny Experience, which is a X-Men mansion house conference in the Midwest. They do once a year, so that's been a collab too. So that's been fun. And then every time I actually do a panel, it's kind of a collab with the other people who are on it, because we all kind of promote each other's stuff. So that's been fun too. And then in the past, I also have put together a podcast panel just to like tell people how to podcast. I've had some local podcast experts in LA talk about podcasts that they work on. It's probably time to do another one. So if I do another one, you guys want to come up for one of my panels? So mine are all in person though. If you have to come up in 1 week and let me know, I can have you guys be on my podcast panel.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. We'll definitely come make that appearance.
When podcasting had this like resurgence like 4 years ago, I started doing a bunch of podcasts, panels about how to do the podcast, how to be consistent, what equipment do you put it on, where do you put the podcast, and there's a whole thing on just basically how to do podcasts. And that's been updated basically over the past couple of years, because there's new players now, there's new platforms, there's new ways to do things. So yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. We'd love to.
Let me know what time you guys are in LA next, and I'll put together a podcast time when you guys are out.
Okay, perfect. That works.
And that's the code. That's my next collab I'm working on with you. So
yes, we'll do it. So what are your goals for the future of Digital LA, and how do you plan to continue fostering the growth and innovation within the community?
Yeah, a great question. My goals are continue to form community through these events, both online and then have the offline follow-up, and to continue to grow into new areas. So I want to do more on more the nitty gritty on AI, like really how to use it, so that people get beyond I'm scared of it, or I've done ChatGPT. Like there's other AI tools now for voice, for video. So I want to make sure that people know about that, so you don't get run over by that. So that's kind of like next. And then another area I want to get more into is in space tech. We have various space companies in the LA area, from NASA JPL to SpaceX. And there's a growing area of space tech in the LA area. So that's kind of something that's more interesting, or new development. So that's fun. And then creators. So creators are continuing to evolve. The top creators who were top 5 years ago are not the top ones now, mostly thanks to TikTok blowing up during pandemic, and TikTok creators really being doing very well. So basically continuing to have creator tools and what's happening with the algorithm, how you can basically beat the algorithm, and do things the algorithm favors, basically to help people with their content and engage. So those are kind of the three areas I'm interested in.
Nice. Yeah, and those definitely can be challenging, especially with trying to figure out what's going on with the algorithm. Yep. What people don't realize about the algorithm is all that is sophisticated speak to let you know the people that are actually viewing your content.
Right.
And I've been playing with it over and over, like throughout the months. And it's like 1 month, I'm like, all right, I got it dialed in. I'm good. I'm hitting every time I'm dropping something. Then it's like next video comes out and I'm like, wait a minute, this was not going anywhere yet. What happened this time? Hold on. Let me go back and refocus and figure out why it's not doing the same thing that the other ones did. And I'm like, man, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, the algorithm changes because they're like, oh, we want to favor this now. We have this new product. We want to favor it. So yeah. So I think it's useful. We talk about this in our panels with creators. It's useful to be aware of the algorithms, and they're always changing. So try to figure it out. But again, don't go too crazy trying to figure it out because you just won't be able to a degree. And then just create content that you're passionate about, and people will like it, and then you'll go. They'll be seen that way. So it's this fine line between you do have to pay some attention to it, but don't become too obsessed. That's all you think about. Because at the end of the day, it's good, authentic content and passionate voices that people resonate with, which people like and share. So yeah, and we talk about that balancing act too. So it's because you can't be oblivious to the algorithm either. So yeah.
Nope. How has pop culture influenced your work and the events that you organize within Digital LA?
Pop culture is definitely impacted because the people that I asked to speak at my panels or events are people who worked on like the top shows, whether it's, Star Wars or Avatar or X-Men. Those are the types of folks who I asked to speak on my panel. So pop culture definitely influences what I do. For example, this X-Men 97 watch series is a great example because this came out. Suddenly we have this event series, and suddenly we also have formed a community of X-Men fans. So yeah, whatever is currently out, whether it's primarily movies and TV shows, but also games, whatever is out, that's what we talk about. In the game world, I put together some game panels with folks talking about how games like Last of Us and shows based on TV shows based on games like Last of Us, or movies based on games like the Super Mario Brothers movies are now hitting. There used to be a time in pop culture when a video game movie like Mortal Kombat was not cool. Like it didn't go well. But now I think what's happened is the difference is you have fans of the games themselves who played them are now old enough to be able to write and direct it and want to shoot this stuff, and they know how it's supposed to go. So you have fans like who are actually coming up now, becoming old enough to create this stuff and work in the industry. They know how it's supposed to go. So that's why. And also the another key thing is you have to have the original directors involved. So for Super Mario Brothers, the writers they worked with Nintendo to make sure they got it right, and you also had the writer who was a fan of the show. I actually had a Zoom with the writer of Super Mario Brothers and talked to him about it. So he was like, I've been a fan of Mario Brothers, so I just was happy to do stuff with these characters, and it works with the Nintendo, and they said that's all great. So that's an example. So now you have the directors, and then the content creators, whether it's a film or TV show, they're fans of the work and they partner with the original directors of the work to create it, and that's help make these successful. So we talk about that. So pop culture definitely impacts like what we talk about because we're talking about the trends and the digital trends and how to be digitally smart with whatever the new pop culture trend is, or film or TV show or game is.
That goes with a lot of what you said, because we spoke about stuff like this in the past on other podcasts or just regular conversation, where the entertainment space has ridiculously evolved because those kids, again, 30 years ago, they've turned into adults and they become showrunners or writers or directors, and they know how it's supposed to be done and made and created. Versus how the old guard was, they were just regular directors who had an idea for a film. They had a specific structure. They didn't know anything about whatever franchise that we liked, and it didn't translate well. Okay, Street Fighter. You know what I mean? That's it. You know what I mean? But now we're getting things that are done correctly, like even some of the live action anime. Okay. It's kind of a hard thing to really, really do live action anime, but the actual attempt is looking really good, and it's looking promising for the future. And
Yep.
they did a great job. Like the Super Mario film was great. The Sonic movie was great.
Yep.
Even the Gran Turismo movie was cool. You
Yeah.
know. But yeah, I think those kids that have grown up, that they're doing what they're supposed to do, and I think the perfect person. One of the first people that I noticed who did that, Seth MacFarlane. If you watch all the Family Guy stuff, his Easter egg game and references and callbacks in the beginning were impeccable. Like that season 1 of Family Guy, just crazy. Like,
Yeah.
Same with The Simpsons.
The Simpsons. My mom was like, "What's so funny?" I'm like, "You don't get this," and she was like, I'm like, what? You know?
Yes.
Man.
Yeah, that's true. And then another example is Avatar: The Last Airbender. You mentioned anime. I've been a huge anime fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and so when the live action came out on Netflix, I was like, all right, let's see what's going on. And I'm like, it's not bad. They did it right. There was an event in LA where the visual effects supervisor was speaking, and I went up to him afterwards. I was like, I'd love to have you speak on one of my panels about the visual effects of Avatar: The Last Airbender, because I thought that water bending and the fire, they all look great to me. So, and visual effects is a very digital thing because it's digital. So, so I'm working on a panel. So now I'm going to work on a panel with him talking about the visual effects of Avatar: The Last Airbender that people can come to, and then that will draw the visual effects community and fans of Avatar out to that. So, so that's an example of how what's out on the shows will impact the panels and the events that I create.
Definitely.
So, what key pieces of advice would you give an aspiring creative entrepreneur looking to break into the digital entertainment industry?
Yeah, definitely. We've hit upon a couple of these sprinkled throughout. I would say there's 5 different things to keep in mind. One is to have your voice. The number one thing is have your voice. Don't try to be like somebody else you saw that was really big, because only they can talk how they talk. Only you can talk how you talk and what you're passionate about, what you're interested in. So have your voice. What that means is, like, what are you about? What are you interested in? What are you? Do you like horror? Are you a funny guy? What are you about? That's what your voice means. 2 is be authentic. Don't try to be something you're not. Don't partner with brands that aren't things that you use. Don't enter in genres that are not your thing. Sometimes I get invited to be the MC or do something on horror. I am not a horror fan. So I'll say I will pass on that because I am not a horror fan. I will not go to the Monster Palooza event. I'm just not a horror guy. So I will tell my other friends who are horror fans to go, but I'm not that guy. So be authentic. Do what don't try to do things that are not you. 3 is be consistent. We alluded to this before. If you're creating content or doing events or whatever you're doing, be consistent, because people want to know that if they are partnering with you, that you're not going to disappear the next day, that you're going to be around, that you have an audience that you're developing. So that's 3. 4 is create your community and cultivate your community. By creating content or events or anything really, what will happen is a community will form of fans and followers. Don't ignore them. Interact with them. Encourage your community. By doing events, by doing podcasts, by doing YouTube videos, or creating any sort of content, you will create a community that of people who follow you. So make sure you acknowledge that community, engage with them, say, hey, thanks for following, organize something to thank them, call out people who are in your community and say, hey, this user John Smith 4138. Thank you for what you said on my post the other day, or thank you for just acknowledge them so that that you're watching them. So that's 4. And then 5 is I would say collaborate with brands and partners to get to that next level. And then I've been at a 6th one is just have fun. So make sure you're having fun with what you do. If it gets to be too much of a pain or too stressful, or hire someone else to help you out, ask a friend to help you out. Some people hate editing. I'm really bad at editing things. So I have an editor friend who I need to call more often to help edit things to make it look good. I could do Instagram, but beyond that, I don't have some of the high editing skills. So know your weaknesses and then have a friend or pay someone to help you out. The other areas you could continue to advance, and that will be a missing part in what you do. So yeah, so those are some of the some advice for creators or whatever you do, whatever you're working on.
So, Kevin, let everybody know where they can find you on social media, your websites, any platforms or events that you have coming up that you want them to know about.
Yeah, sounds good. So again, Kevin Winston. I'm personally at Kevin Winston, just at Kevin Winston. And then my company is Digital LA, which is Digital LA at. And then that's also the same on Instagram and Twitter because I've been doing this since Instagram and Twitter started. And then the website's digitala.net. We're also on Facebook and yeah, Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn. All right. Our LinkedIn group has more than like 20,000 people on it. So if you're more on the business side, you can join that. If you're more on like the fun events, you can join Instagram, see that. So yeah, there's a bunch of ways to interact. As far as events, we're still continuing the Wednesday watch parties with the various X-Men cast. We're going to start to ask some of the X-Men creators of the original show to come on that too. So that'll be fun. So that's every Wednesday at 6:30 at Scum and Villainy. Again, check the Digital A Instagram for that. And then other events I'm going to be doing, like I mentioned, the San Diego Comic-Con party, Digital A San Diego Comic-Con party. So check out for that. And then my panel at Comic-Con on diversity and film, TV, music, and games will be Thursday, 8 o'clock in panel room 25 ABC at the Convention Center. So yeah, and then I have events coming all the time. So if you go to the Digital Instagram, you don't see an event, like come back in like a week, there'll be like a bunch of events that have popped up. So because I just get ideas and put together stuff very quickly. So check that out. So yeah, and then as you guys know, when you guys are in town, I'll put the next podcast panel. So you let me know.
Let's do it. So we appreciate you for being on that type of talk today. And I'm K Good, and this is
Kehinde ATO Worldwide.
And thank you for being a guest with us today. And everyone that's watching, please go like, share, follow Kevin, follow Digital LA, and check out all the events that he has coming up. Yeah. He sounds like he's pretty spontaneous, and he has a lot of fun things going on for you guys. So if you're in the LA area or you go visit LA, stay tuned for all of his events.